So we're going to talk about databases and the way that we organize information or data. So we're going to discuss how to create a database and then how to normalize it. And then finally, we're going to end up building a database in some kind of a database management system and then writing queries in order to pull information out of it. To start the conversation, we need to have some kind of common vocabulary. So we're going to talk about a few terms that we need to know if we're going to discuss databases. So on the front end, a database looks remarkably like an Excel spreadsheet. So if you're familiar with Excel, you should be familiar with what a database table looks like. But there is a difference in some of the terminology. Normally, in an Excel spreadsheet, I would call these things rows. But in a database, I'm actually going to call them records. In a spreadsheet, each one of these would be columns. But in a spreadsheet, we're going to call them fields. In a spreadsheet, one single piece of information could be called a field, a cell, and we're going to use that same word as a cell. One thing that we need to know about each one of the individual fields is something called the domain. And the domain is all possible values that that particular field can take on. The list of all possible values of an individual field. Let's say, for instance, I had a field called age. If this was a table that belonged to an elementary school and this was the student table, I think that the age field in an elementary school is probably somewhere around 5 years old to, 11 or 12. If this was the student table in a university, that age field could take on a different value, let's say between 15 and 95. And if this table was for a grove of trees, that age field might be somewhere from 1 to 2,000. How old do trees get? If we had a field like email address, the domain of an email address is probably all letters and numbers and characters and symbols. And so the domain would be all alphanumeric and symbol characters. And the last term that we want to talk about is a table. This entire cell, this entire thing is called a table. In an Excel, it would be called a worksheet. And when I first open up Excel, Microsoft Excel, it gives me 3 worksheets. And I can delete 2 of them and just use 1, or I can have all 3 of them. Altogether, my spreadsheet is made up of worksheets. We're going to find out that a database can be made up of 1 or more tables. I'm sure that Weber State University has a database that is made up of many tables. There was probably a student table and a faculty table and a course table, and there's probably a table that is tracking all of the fitness equipment in the Swinson Gymnasium. And so a database can be made up of 1 or more tables. So let's design a database. The first thing that we need to know in order to design a database is, what would I like to put in it? What kind of thing would I like to organize? So what I'd like you to do is I'd like to think in your mind something in your life that you would like to organize. You're going to notice that in the textbook, they're going to organize music, or specifically songs. I, on the other hand, am going to organize all of the top ramen that I have in my possession. So I'm going to give you a minute to think about something in your life that you'd like to organize. It can be children in your family, or socks in your drawer. It can be trees in a grove, or it can be all the cars that you wish you had in your driveway. So I'm going to have you write down something that you would like to organize. Once you've decided what you'd like to organize, then I'm going to have you think of what you would like to know about a single piece of information, about a single item, So I'm going to organize top ramen. The book is organizing music. You can organize anything else that you'd like to besides top ramen and music. What would you like to know about a single item? For top ramen, these are some things that I would like to know about it. These are the 7 things that I would like to know about a single top ramen. I'd like to know what flavor it is. I would like to know its expiration date. I'd like to know how many of them that I have and where it is located within my possession. I'd like to know its brand name, because some of them are better than others. I would like to know the name of the store that I got it from, and then the number of the store, and then finally the zip code of the store, just in case I want to go back there and buy some more. And finally, I'd like to know the price. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to write down some information that you would like to know about the item that you are going to be organizing today. I'll have you write down at least 7 pieces of information. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to organize them. And so somehow I'm going to take stock of all of the top ramen that I have in my possession, and then I'm going to write them all down so I can take an inventory of them. But what I'd like to do is organize them. I have to decide how I would like to organize them. I suppose I could organize them by the expiration date so that I can use the soonest expiration date first. I could organize them by the location just so I know where each one of them are. I could organize them by the brand name because different brands taste different. I think for my purposes, I'm going to organize them by flavor. So what I'm going to do is when I'm taking inventory of all the top ramen that I have, I'm going to write them down by flavor. All right, so the first one I have is pork. I have 2 of them in the kitchen, both, and I have 1 of them in the laundry. They are Seiko brand that I got at Walmart. They cost 3 cents a piece, and they all have the same expiration date, 4/22. I also have some chicken, so let me write down my chicken top ramen. All right, so I have 16 chicken in the kitchen. I have 8 of them in the storage. They are the same brand, and I got them at Walmart, but this one I got at a different Walmart store, and they all expire on 4/35. We know that expiration dates are just suggestions and not hard and fast rules, but I'm going to write down the expiration date anyway. I have some shrimp, so let me write down my shrimp top ramen. All right, so I have 2 shrimp in the backyard. I have 5 of them in the car. These I got at Albertsons. They are a Kiko brand. Their expiration date is 6/30. Don't ask how they got in the backyard. I'm pretty sure that it involves my 2 Chihuahuas. So I also have 5 veggie that are also in my car. They have the same expiration date. I also got those at Albertsons as well. And then I have 12 beef. And the beef have a different expiration date, but they are also in my car. And they're also Kiko that I got from Albertsons. So now I have taken inventory of all of the different top ramen that I can find all over the place, the top ramen that are in my possession. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to take inventory of the things that you have decided to organize. What I'd like you to do is write down at least 5 different, decide how you'd like to organize them, what you'd like to group them on, and then I want you to write down at least 5 different records. I'll give you a few minutes to do that.